Hello, everybody. Welcome to the One Step Better podcast. I am Mike Schaefer. This is Matthew Patrick, and we're excited that you've tuned in to listen to us ramble on a little bit about successful habits that leaders can start to produce, especially this time of year as we are jumping into New Year's resolutions, all things new, new beginnings, new habits. And so today we're going to talk about some employee management items that some of you guys may be doing, some of you may not be doing, and we would recommend that you get on the train of one-on-ones or check-ins with your employees. So Matt.
Creating the rhythms.
The rhythm of a check-in. Yep. So what is a check-in?
A check-in is different than a one-on-one.
What are we going to call it? We're going to call it a one-on-one or a check-in?
Well, they're different.
They're a little bit different.
Yeah. A one-on-one.
What's this podcast about?
No. A one-on-one for me is different agenda than a check-in.
Yeah.
I have check-ins with my team regularly with people that I don't think really report to me. I want to see what's going on in their world. It's a little more informal. It's my chance to connect with them. So I have a group of people I do check-ins with, and that means, hey, it's not my particular job to manage you day to day. I'm not your leader, direct leader, but I still want to know what's going on with you. And so it gets really personal, how they think is doing personally with them, how their family.
It's your way to keep your pulse on people.
Yep, and connect. I just want to be connected to them, make sure that they know I'm here if they want to have a conversation about anything. I'm here for that. A one-on-one is I am your leader, and I want to make sure that we are aligned with what you're working on, your goals, and I want to ask a quick question on that. Who should be running the one-on-one? Who should be running that meeting?
Running the meeting, it depends on how you define running the meeting. I mean, what you're getting to, I think what you're getting to.
I know you know what
is that the employee, not the leader, should come to that meeting with a clear plan of what they're wanting to get out of it.
Correct.
Which is hard to do sometimes, especially
sure.
if you haven't established that as part of your rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one-on-ones and check-ins, two different things.
Yep.
Check-ins a little bit more informal. One-on-ones probably a little bit more of an organized agenda. You are not allowed to call any of your stuff that you do with employees one-on-ones. How come?
I have a leader that should be leading them, not me. And so I have check-ins with a number of people on a routine basis that are on my calendar. They're 15 to 20-minute conversations. I just want to make sure that anything I do to help them, anything going on, you know about what's going on in their personal lives. Because I don't get a chance to always just be around the water cooler with them. Particularly with remote employees, it's important for me to feel like I'm connected to them in a different way than just I'm their boss they never talk to. That's not my role. I don't want that to be my role. I want my role to be, I want to be as part of the organization to make sure the health is where I want it to be.
And so why have you made a mindful decision to not call that one-on-one? So like, hey, right. Anna, you're going to have a one-on-one with Shelby and you're going to have a one-on-one with Matt. Why do you not call them one-on-ones?
I believe I cut the legs of the leader. I prevent them from having the opportunity to truly be the leader they need to be. I will obviously step on toes then. I may have a different of opinion. If I have something that needs that aspect of my leader's not leading a person, I need to develop the leader to lead that person, not to circumvent their leadership.
So this is your way to make it explicitly clear to the person that you are doing the one-on-one or check-in with that this conversation that you and them are having is not really performance management. It's not employee development. It's not how can I make your life better at work. Though you may talk about some of those things.
Absolutely.
That's not the purpose.
No, my purpose for this really is I want to make sure I have a pulse on the team, but also I want to know what else is going on. You know, what's we struggling with? What's going on personally in your life? You know, I want to know what other forces are going on with you. And then what are your long-term plans? I would love to know that. I mean, I'm not necessarily developing that, but I want to have insight into, they're really wanting to improve some skills or whatever that may be. I'll have a conversation with my leader about that. Like, hey, this is some stuff they were working on. Have them bring that up in their next one-on-one. Probably a good idea to talk about how that progresses.
So in your world, this is kind of like a skip level meeting where there's another level of leadership that's probably involved with that employee development.
And I will say it's really improved my leader's ability to lead. They could run around the leader to get to me in the one-on-one, or they felt to develop a relationship with me as a leader. So they're going to come to me with their issues or challenges or questions, and they're ready. They should be going through the chain of command, not chain of command, but like the idea is like, hey, you have a leader that's here to develop you. This is the perfect question for you to ask them.
Yeah. How often and to whom do you have check-ins with?
Casey, Debbie, Tucker, Carolyn, Sandy, Jen. Those are all leaders on our team that have a leader, which either Kim or Mike.
They're a manager of some kind.
They're a manager of other people, and their leader is responsible for managing them and the work and the production and, their development. But there's another layer of leadership / just, I want to help overall develop them into thinking more firm-wide than just themselves.
Support.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often do you do that?
Once a month.
With all those people?
With all those people. And then I have one-on-ones with my leadership team weekly. That's my way to get true pulse on what's going on in their world. It's not a hard agenda. In my mind, what I want to know is, what do you need my help with? What's going on? Give me feedback on your team. What issues are you struggling with? Or do you feel like you need some help? Is there anything I can do to help you that you haven't brought up yet? And then they will bring issues to, like, I need to talk to you about these things, or this is something I think you should know about. That's my expectation in that meeting. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty of like, okay, walk me through your pipeline with Shelby's team. Okay, does your pipeline feel good? How has your appointment setting been? How the guys doing? Are they on track? I just want to know bigger picture what's going on there.
Your goal is just to remove obstacles that you can remove. Mm-hmm. You know that to the extent an issue pops up, that more than anybody in this entire organization, you have the authority and abilities to remove those and make decisions about removing those without significantly quicker than maybe somebody else could.
Yeah, they come and go, hey, we need to let go this client, or hey, this is something that's a problem with a staff or a client. They can come to me and they can be like, okay, what's your solution? We need to let them go. Okay, draft the letter. Like, it's time. I'm going to be the decision maker there.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go, we are firing them. I've already drafted the letter. Do you agree with this? No? Okay, great. We're still firing them. That's fine.
Just so you know, we did do this.
Yes, and that's fine. I wanted to make sure, like, that's the opportunity for my leaders to make sure I'm aware of the stuff I need to be aware of. And I trust them enough to know that they need to tell me what they need to tell me.
Yeah.
I don't need to know every detail of every single thing, but I trust them to know that this is something you need to be aware of. Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel good. Now, some of my leaders are more mature than others. They haven't been in the role as long. They need a little more, the guardrails are a little tighter.
A little help.
Yeah.
But this is a normal routine. This is a scheduled rhythm. This is not just
This
is not you dropping in on somebody while they're doing work and saying like, "Hey, how's it going? You got 15 minutes."
I have the same expectations of my leaders having one-on-ones with their team, and we don't miss very many of those. I mean, travel will disrupt some of that, but for the most part, we're pretty regular as an organization. And that took time though, because wasn't something I was good at in the very beginning.
Well, so why was it difficult early on?
Because I had everybody reporting to me. And so they'd be like, I have 20 one-on-ones a week. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And so it turned into, I didn't have anybody helping me lead because everything was bottlenecked to me. And I'm like, I can't. And I had a better pulse probably too. I was involved in the weeds more. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to feel like I needed to remove myself. But at some point, I'm like, I can't meet with everybody every week. I can't meet with everybody every month. So at one point I was doing one-on-ones with every staff, every manager, and every leader. I'm like, I just can't. Like, that was 7 or 8 people plus the leaders of those teams, or whatever it was. It's like I'm meeting with 10 people a month.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and and I was still having either a production role, or I was being pulled in a lot of other directions.
What did it take to get you as the owner out of those weekly meetings with everybody on the team?
Trust and a structure. And I'd say first the hierarchy, like actually creating the structure of leadership, seeing what we need to have in place long term. So we need to have somebody who's really running our accounting team. We have somebody running our payroll team. We have somebody running our sales team, having somebody running our admin. Before that, it was like when I first started the firm, we were all meeting every week together. All firm members were in a production meeting every Monday.
Yeah.
It was 7 people. Right. 5 people, 4 people. I had to know what was going on. And I was also leading the production of the work, making sure everything was getting done. But yeah, trust was is the first one. Like, I have to trust the leader's going to be able to develop these people the right way. There's politics in that a little bit. You have people that are in a new role, and their peer is also, now they're leading them. So there's some transition of those type things that take some time to work your way around, which is also why a lot of times I was still doing one-on-ones with leaders, people that somebody else should have been leading, but I was still leading them because of the politics. And that was probably my failure as a leader to establish the true lines.
But I mean, it's
a real
trust issue.
It was trust. It was probably trust more than anything. I know this person's going to be the leader. They're still a leader in development, and I need to be there to make sure the whole team doesn't get off whack right now because that person's not really skilled up yet. So it was trust.
And then how long have you been doing check-ins with everybody? That same time frame?
Check-ins really rolled out more in 22 than anything. Delineating that, my leaders should be able to lead everybody. I don't need to be involved in a one-on-one conversation with them. It needs to be more of all right, my role, and I'd say, you pushed me to this, and the leadership team, they're like, hey, they're coming to you because you're allowing them to come to you. Yeah. And so that kind of has gone away.
Check-ins, to some extent, not primarily, but to some extent, I would imagine for you is also a way to.
I'm checking out the leader.
Yeah, it's
right.
like I'm letting the leader lead, but at the same time, I'm not giving too much rope there.
Correct.
That way you can kind of know what's going on.
I don't do check-ins with all the staff now. I trust the managers and
It's an incremental step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't meet with a lot of people on the payroll team. I leave with a couple people, and it's just another sounding board and stuff for them to talk to, and that's fine. And
you enjoy that stuff.
I do.
Super important, because if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't do it at this.
No, point. I want to know what's going on in their lives, and I want to know if somebody having a health problem. I need to know that that's something I need to kind of plan for. That we need to figure some stuff out there. If there's some juggling that may need to happen, and they may not feel comfortable talking to their leader about that stuff yet. Yeah. Like, hey, this was my husband's going. This was going on in our family, or this was going on with my children, or I'm struggling with this, and we've all gone through. We went through that as a family. Mom Mandy was having a hard time figuring out how to balance being a new mom with all the stuff, and how do I don't want to miss anything, and there's always a stupid doctor's appointment. And they go back to daycare and they get another ear infection. So all that stuff that happens, just like, yeah, I've been through that. I get it.
You can empathize with
it. I totally empathize with it. Yeah. And it's hard. And Mandy's perspective is a lot different than mine. She goes, you're the dad that never had to go to the doctor appointments. You're absolutely that. I always had to go. But I had a 12 patient load every single day. And when I went to an ear appointment, I have to figure out what the hell I'm doing with 12 patients. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. I got work to do. No. No. But it is true.
You're right. But I got to get to this meeting, so I'll see you later.
Can you call my mom? She'll help you maybe. So that's what we did. But and now as a leader, I'm like, I get it. And we have a lot of moms that work for us. We have a lot of parents. We've got a lot of people with family stuff going on. It just always is. People have lives, and we have to understand that.
For you as the owner, the founder, the president of the company, what do you think is that next evolution of check-ins and one-on-ones for you to have with your team?
I have to be able to keep somewhat. It's like, it's leadership by walking around, as Dave Ramsey would say, or it's, hey, I'm going to take a small group to lunch here and there. I have to have a feeling to truly know how my team's doing. So the idea of an absentee owner tells me I'm never going to be here. I asked this question recently. It's if I wasn't here, does it get better or worse? Maybe it gets better. It probably does get better in some aspects and worse in others. And it's that'd be interesting if I took 3 months off. What would change in my business at this point? And I would be doing it almost as an experiment more than anything. I obviously can't get 3 months away and the business still operate.
Yeah.
That sounds like a big endeavor.
Yeah.
I've taken a month off, but not really off. I mean, I was off, but I still would checking in and stuff. Yeah. But that would expose areas of issues that we would find, and either they'd have to fix it or find a solution around it and solve the problem. And I trust my team to do that, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of bumps and bruises along the way to get there. And it's was that a really good use of our experiment time? Yeah. So I don't know the answer to that.
Well, and I mean, the idea of these check-ins and one-on-ones over time have changed dramatically from, we just celebrated 20 years.
Oh yeah.
20 years ago, or really, 19 years ago, there's 3 people.
Well,
and we're like close quarter. Like,
yeah.
I don't need to have a check-in because I'm across the desk from you.
I can
hey, Matt,
I can touch your.
This is what's going on.
Yeah, you're like right there. We can put our fingertips together.
And even really until we got into the building that we're at now, everybody was within 10 feet of each other.
Correct.
For the most part, maybe minus front desk was a little bit further away, but like
it was like 15 feet.
Yeah. And so like I knew what was going on because I can unfortunately hear everything.
Yeah.
And so I think there's rhythms that develop over time as a business grows to where some of those are in our case had to become more formalized.
Yep.
Because we lost the informal just from a spacing standpoint.
We did,
and we grew to the point where now we have to develop a layer of leadership because, like you said, you can't lead 40 people directly.
Yeah, not well.
Yeah, not well.
So I think about when I was a smaller firm, my one-on-ones were very tactical, mostly in nature. They were setting production mindset of our team and our managers, understanding the role of a manager or the role of a staff, helping develop them technically and production, very little strategic. And now my one-on-ones in the role I'm helping my leaders develop the strategic side and their ability to have difficult conversations and to hold people accountable. That's my role now.
It is different, but I would say early on your one-on-ones were strategic. The agenda to how you got there was, are we getting our work done?
I had to.
Because if we're not getting our work done, there is something broken or something that needs to get fixed. And that you would use that as the developmental opportunity. So it was strategic.
Strategic for me and what we were doing it for, but like the conversations we were having were very work production oriented.
More reactive.
Which is what Kim's one-on-one should be today. A lot of hers are production. What are you struggling with production? What clients are you struggling with? Here's some areas of concern I see with your work product or your quality control or your time management. Very tactical to how to improve their role that they're in. Mm-hmm. That's the role they're sitting in today.
Well, so our one-on-ones, the formal, we're doing this on a monthly basis where our leaders are having monthly one-on-ones with the people that report to them. And the first thing on that agenda is an evaluation of where you're at against your scorecard in our world, your KRA. So your KRA says that you should be doing X. Are you doing X? And let's take a look at that, which then begins to form the talking points of, all right, you are, I'll use Anna for example. Anna, you're expected to produce a couple of podcasts a week, but we haven't produced a podcast in 3 months. Not really, not a real example, but like what's going on with that?
How do we get that back in rhythm?
Yeah.
How do you make you win? KRA for us is winning for me looks like this. You can count on me to do these things. Hey, are you doing those things? Yes or no? Now I have an very clear.
What do you have for me is my prompt to say, hey, Matt.
What questions you have?
You
need my help.
Should have come to this meeting prepared with things that you're stuck on, that you need help on, or that you're an opportunity that you're looking at or something. That's you came prepared to this, and I want to give you the opportunity to start with that because my goal is to help you. These are the things that you feel like you need help with. Very rarely will I flip that to where, all right, something's super important or super critical, urgent, whatever it is, and we don't have time for your stuff today because I got too much to unload.
But usually, if that is the case, it is something that has to get corrected today.
Yeah, and normally that doesn't happen in a one-on-one.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it would be, this has come up. We already have a one-on-one in the books. We're going to have this conversation at that one-on-one. Yeah. Be prepared for this conversation.
Yep. And what I love about the rhythms or the schedule of check-ins and one-on-ones is it gives me, there is something on my calendar right now with every single person on my team that I know on that date at that time, we're going to sit down and have a conversation. So now I don't have to go interrupt my team's day to say, oh, these are some things that I've been thinking about, or
Correct.
What do you need help with? We already have that on the calendar. Now, if there's something important that does happen, and we have other rhythms for mass communication, but There's no, if I say right now, if I slacked Casey, hey Casey, I need you to come to my office.
I'm about to get fired. Like,
Sorry,
no, I just want to have a normal conversation about
PTO.
Something. I have a question.
Yeah. But when you have those on the calendar already, one, I don't have to slack Casey and say, come to my office. We already have a time for that.
Correct. It's
and
not
two,
disruptive. It's plannable.
She doesn't have the anxiety of, I'm just getting called to the office.
It's a normal routine.
So it's helpful for other reasons, just, other than just
We've
keeping up and
done a couple
in.
podcasts historically on meeting rhythms. I'd recommend you guys listen to those.
Yeah.
This is a part of your overall organization's meeting rhythms. We have really strong meeting rhythms here. Maybe too much, maybe not enough, but I feel like our meeting rhythms are all purposeful. Our meetings there's no meeting on our calendar that doesn't have a true purpose.
Yeah.
If you're going through a routine of meetings and you think the meetings suck, that means you have a bad purpose of that meeting. Everybody has to have a clear vision on what that meeting's for. We have check-ins for firm-wide. We have our daily huddle, and we have our strategic meetings are set up more monthly. We have issue and problem resolution meetings every single week with big goals in mind of how we're trying to achieve those big goals, and those are mostly strategic. There's always troubleshooting within the week or 2 weeks that with things we have to resolve. Some of those are tied to the bigger goals. Some of things that we have to get this thing fixed. If something's not working or we have this issue we need to resolve. Those meeting rhythms are very, very important to creating clarity amongst everybody. Everybody's always rowing in the same direction. You've got a clear path to know how you're going to resolve all the issues that do come up because there's always something that's new.
Yep. And check-ins, one-on-ones, regular employee engagement is a big part of that.
It absolutely is. Having consistency in what your expectations are of a one-on-one. If you're not the only person doing one-on-ones in your team, knowing how that is supposed to be run, how that meeting should be, what the expectations are, like what a one-on-one means in your organization, what you expect of the person to come to that meeting with, that has to be very, very clear. I think you should be making sure all your leaders are doing it the same way. This is something we struggle with. We put new leaders in one-on-one roles. One person may do it one way, one person does it another way. Creating consistency there because it allows you to have make sure that the meetings are as effective as you want them to be.
Yep. You gotta create your way. Whatever your way is going to be, create your way, share your way with everybody, make sure everybody's following it.
Correct.
So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have questions about your one-on-ones, you can always reach out to us. onestepbetter@whirks.com. We'd be glad to help. Or you can leave some comments on wherever you are viewing this podcast. Thanks and have a great day. Thanks for listening to the One Step Better podcast. I'd really appreciate it if you would take some time to rate us 5 stars on your podcast player of choice and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss out on another episode. Thanks and have a great day.